All right, guys, how we doing? It's week 9 of the fantasy season so far in the Bro Down League. I am your host, Matty Drew, and alongside with me is the big ugly bald guy. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm the Phenom, aka Matty P, aka last year's champ, aka this year's champ.
All right, fair enough. Well,
Self-acclaimed.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, so we're going to be starting a weekly podcast here, just breaking down the league, getting the ebbs and flows of everything, and kind of going everything. So yeah, we're gonna look at the standings here, do a little quick little rundown of that, see how everybody's looking. Anything that stands out to you? First thing I always
Definitely,
do is points for.
definitely a big shift in the league. You got George up there at the top, and he's been kind of holding that down for a few weeks now. But you got Risky Dipper making a slow creep up from the very bottom, but I don't see that going too much further. Big things to note are the downfall of Fentanyl, Dicker Downs, and Team Coleman. Those teams have really taken a hit the past couple weeks.
Yeah, Team Coleman went on a nice little run. I think he had a 3-game winning streak going, but just he took a rough loss last week. But we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, I'm you and I are holding steady up top, keeping ourselves in the fight. Above 500 is always good. And got a little unlucky last week myself, just tough matchup. And you squeaked by with a pretty subpar performance, if I do say so myself. But we'll
riding it out on the defense and those kickers, but
yeah. And yeah, here's just our little projections. So Team Phenom, lost the number 1 spot. George Connor among thieves, just taking it over. Again hanging out. Josh, surprise team for me is the Rock Boys. I didn't see that one coming.
Well, I'm surprised that team's been hanging out where it's been hanging. This guy does not make any trades, keeps the same players on the field, and somehow manages to stay at the top. So he's doing something right, but it is getting frustrating for anyone who's trying to trade with that team.
Yeah, I've heard negative reviews on some trade aspects, but that's a conversation for another day. But so we'll just go through the box scores here. So I'll start with mine first. Tough loss, like I said. Rock Boys put a good hurting on me. It's tough to come back when we're looking at 15 plus for 5 guys on the roster, and I had a spot start Evan Ingram. Dude let me down. I mean, we're looking 9, 6, 8, 13, then 1. So it's not great, but 116, not a bad score. We can live with that. But yeah, also pretty rough bye week for me. So that kind of hurt. But Fields, I might have solved my quarterback situation, but anything that stands out to you here?
I think the big one is we need to talk about old Justin Fields. This is a guy that has been doing good all season long, and then now he's putting up these massive numbers like this. I think we can expect a couple more games out of him like we saw last week going down the road.
Look at the trend here. I mean, pretty solid. This was a weather game, and he was able to use his legs a lot and get in the end zone a couple of times with some bad defense by the Niners. But pretty rough here, middle stretch, and then really picked it up last 5 weeks. Really just constantly climbing. Obviously, the big gaudy 50 piece on Sunday. That's going to do it for you. But team let me down a little bit, but we'll try to bounce back. But moving on next, Team Nate, the Milkman, my personal favorite name. Team Nate putting up a big score. Joe Mixon, big help for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, this was definitely a surprising game right here. I didn't see this one coming. Unfortunately, Team Nate's been hanging out down there at the lower end of the scoring this whole season, and definitely came out of right field and threw up some points this week. So I think this is one of those teams we can expect more out of now that we're getting out of these bye weeks. And definitely, if a good trade or two goes on, especially in the quarterback realm, we can really see a lot more coming out of this team going forward.
Yeah, I mean, just to point that out, Dak, he's coming back from the injury, starting to look like himself again, had a bye. That's really, and Darren Waller's been fighting injury bug all year, but Christian Kirk's up and down. Tough to get him in the lineup, but yeah, Mixon really with the 55 just hammered it in. And as far as the Milkman goes, just a dude that had a pretty good showing, 116, just kind of like me. That's exactly how much I scored actually. But just tough matchup, big opponent, tough to overcome. But
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating to lose those games when you got a player like Derrick Henry sitting up there at the top, putting up steady points.
how about this guy? He's on pace for.
Oh yeah,
Look
the
at these yards.
combination of those two. We might see this team upset a couple folks if he ends up somehow getting into the playoffs. He's definitely got to get a couple more wins under his belt starting this week.
Yeah, this guy's been a little bit of a disappointment. It's real. Started off strong and then really just faded. Haven't they're that team's decimated with injuries, so it's kind of tough to play when your top two receivers are out, and Austin Eckler's your only guy. But it's
100%.
But
If I was
no,
him, I'd be trying to trade that quarterback out, especially now that some of these other folks have gone through their bye weeks and don't necessarily need that backup quarterback. He might be surprised what all he might be able to trade that quarterback for.
yeah, Herbert's held in high regard, that's for sure. Well, here's a matchup that you'll love. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Oh man, this is like watching, two crippled guys in a fight right here. This is a tough match. So, you got one team that started out at the bottom of the league and is slowly working its way up, and you got the other team that started out the top and just steadily crashing on down. I think the combination of these two teams are, you skip out on pulling, running backs or receivers and go straight for the quarterback. And those weeks when you don't have your quarterback perform as high as you would expect, then you don't have a chance. So I think I noticed that Team Fentanyl recently picked up the Eagles defense. So I think as long as Lamar keeps it up, then we got some good games coming forward here. But if Lamar goes down on injury, then it's game over for that team. On the flip side, with the old risky dipper, you got a tight end out on bye week that he dropped and picks up Taysom Hill. So I think that's going to be a mistake. Yeah, that guy's not going to put up anything either. So I'm not having high expectations here, and I was kind of hoping that he could definitely give Fentanyl another L. That way we knock that guy out of the playoff contentions. But I think that you're going to see, Fentanyl end up prevailing this week, probably because of the lack of depth on Risky Dipper's team here.
Well, that's a pretty bad take considering the game's already over. But
I'm talking going. Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, this is last week's game. Okay, who are these two up against this week?
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll do a little peek ahead here. Let's see, week 10. So we got Fentanyl's got the Milkman and Risky's got Will Dicker Downs, but we'll break that down a little bit.
That's what I was looking at earlier today. I got a little mixed up on the weeks there.
A little excited. Yeah, I got you. Well, the thing I look at here is Ravens on bye this upcoming week, so Andrews, big piece. He was, dealing with injuries last couple of weeks. He'll be back healthy. That's a big add. Zeke, see what we get there. And just Hubbard's been a little bit of a disappointment, can't get on the field. Donta Foreman's been the guy. It's been but team had a lot of promise, a lot of boom or bust. I mean, if we probably go back and look at Fentanyl's, up, weekly log, he's either putting up 150 or putting up 70. It's been a lot of Jekyll and Hyde, but
this is a team that relies on the quarterback, performing too. So who do we got as a backup quarterback on Fentanyl there?
Nothing on the roster.
And there's no too good options in free agency right now. So I don't have high expectations for this team this week.
Yeah,
this guy clearly didn't plan out bye weeks.
Yeah, tough time of year to be dealing with that. Just especially this part of the year when you have most teams rostering 2 to 3 quarterbacks. Myself included, been through a carousel, but yeah, tough. But moving over to Risky Dipper, I mean, pretty rough start to the year, but Mahomes really, showing why he's the best quarterback in the league.
He's consistent week to week with those points too.
Yeah, McCole Hardman, very good spot start. Had a real strong day. Singletary, that's a guy that I want to get away from if it were me. Jeff Wilson is a little bit scary, just as far as with him being in Miami now. He had a good week last week, but just with Mostert there, it's kind of a crowded backfield, and but just Buffalo they don't run the ball. And Aaron Jones, Jekyll and Hyde there. That offense is sputtering. But Najee coming off the bye, he's been another rough player, but there's
Yeah,
potential here, but it's Garrett Wilson's been trending up, and everybody loves Mike Evans. So it's
yeah, as long as he can catch the ball. If Mike Evans starts making those deep catches and getting those touchdowns in, he could be a good receiver to have. But so far, it's been nothing but a letdown. And same with Harris. Harris was projected pretty good going into the season, and then talk about a letdown of a running back. So
yeah, no kidding. This guy was the top 5 pick in almost every fantasy league there is, and man, we're looking at top production, not even 12 points consistent.
yeah,
But this is something you want out of a middle round pick, or maybe a sleeper pick, but not your first round pick,
this
or
is
even second round
consistently
pick.
maybe
Subpar.
this is even an average flex player right here going into the rest of the
And,
season.
and what concerns me with him is, look at all the volume. He's getting, anywhere between 12 to, 20 touches a game, and he's just putting up nothing, which
Yeah, nothing in the touchdown realm.
yeah, but Risky Dipper Pools went out this week and moves on, and not in the cellar. So moving on, Team Butcher and Team Coleman, two really creative team names here, going at it. Got to start with Team Bucher. Guy at first overall pick, and where's the guy? There he is, Jonathan Taylor. But huge letdown this year. Just not what anybody expected. Just there's a lot of guys, Cortland Sutton, CeeDee Lamb, a lot of guys in this lineup that are just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But getting Kenneth Walker, it's a huge get. Gino has been big. That was a big free agency pickup. That guy's been, model of consistency at a pretty couple rough weeks, but he's QB8. Who saw that coming? But
That's definitely one of the better QBs to be starting right now. This is
he's
actually
moving.
a matchup of two good QBs right here. I'd say some of the better ones in the
this
league.
might be the league MVP this year, the way he's been playing.
Sure. That guy was money last year as well.
Yeah, he the arm. He's always gotten the running stats for sure, but the arm talent. Yeah, getting AJ Brown, that was a huge get for the team, and this team Coleman, I was very high on this year. I thought that was a team that had a lot of potential. Waddle's been really strong. Hurts has been great. Leonard Fournette's been a huge disappointment. Cooks, who knows if he's going to play again? He's with his situation. I don't know if you're aware of that, but he didn't play last Thursday because he wanted to get traded. Didn't get traded, so he said, "I'm not showing up." But Jamar, tough injury.
Yeah,
JK.
Jamar on his injury too. He's just taking up space on that bench until he comes back.
Yeah, he should move him to IR because he's out to 4 to 6 weeks. That's an IR move. That's free up, not having to drop somebody. But Mooney's been picking it up a little bit here. Okay, but look at the targets again. We're talking, that's a lot of volume getting the ball. So that's going to turn into touchdowns at some point. But yeah, Team Bucher pulls out the win here. Big performance. Kenneth Walker, the guy's just been absolute monster. Just look at these stats since Penny's gone down. Just, that's his lowest in 5 weeks, and that's a respectable score.
It looks like Penny's probably out for the season too, so this is definitely one that.
Well, even if he isn't, even if Penny's a healthy scratch, this guy's getting the ball. This guy
proving his worth.
Oh, for sure. He put up basically nothing the first 4 weeks, and then he's a top 12 RB, and just based off his 5 weeks of performance. But Gibson, tough spot start there, but no, overall, Team Bucher's putting it together, making stuff happen in the waiver wire. And trying to get some wins here, and got one this week, moving to 5-4. Moving on, I'll let you talk about this one.
No, man, this was a disappointing game to say the least right here. I think everyone was hoping for the outcome to be the opposite way, but man, there's all sorts of things that went on in this game right here. So let's see where we should start on this one. First off, Burrow, this week nothing too crazy, but this quarterback needs to be recognized, putting up massive amounts of points, so far this season.
Oh, for sure. Last couple of weeks, well, he was real bad against Cleveland last week. He was playing some real bad football, a lot of garbage time touchdowns there, but fantasy world, we live off of that. But no, guys been playing real well. Back-to-back 40-point games, 20, putting up 20 plus a game pretty much on average. Yeah, averaging almost 26 points a game. So guys
are going to go into the bye week next week, so it's definitely going to be a good opportunity to defeat this team. But then once he comes out of bye week, I think he's going to have a massive game against Pittsburgh, to say the least.
Yeah, but going off of just going down counter among thieves. Look at these guys. Burrow's been playing great. ETN's RB1 in Jacksonville, and they're feeding him the ball. Jacobs been a little bit up and down, but had a couple real best games. Justin Jefferson, D Hop. I mean, again, guys who he is, great player. Tiny spot start because Schulte's getting the start there. I mean, guys been fighting injuries this year, but when he plays, he gets the ball. At least with Dak. Cooper Rush, not a huge fan. Then you look, Gabe Davis up and down, but you look here. I mean, Jamal Williams.
I don't know if I would have started. I think I would have put Jamal Williams in that flex spot. To be honest, he's been one that's been getting in the end zone week after week on sometimes even multiple touchdowns. So.
Well, yeah, last week was the big one. 2 touchdowns. He's had 3 2-touchdown games this year. I mean, it's impressive, and they're really nursing back Deontay Swift. So it's just he's been the lead back, but this is a real good. I mean, he's the reason he's first place in 7-2. He's good. Real strong.
He definitely knows what he's doing. He's got a strong team over here.
But yeah, I mean, he was definitely beatable this week, though. Isaiah Likely, in that Monday night game, only 1 catch. It was a big catch. 9 points is pretty good from a spot start tight end, but geez, I mean, that touchdown was on the second drive of the game. You think he's going to get the ball more. A couple drops, and Tucker had a good game, but just came up a little bit short. We'll see what the Josh Allen situation's like, but it's not looking too great.
I think we expected more out of Devontae Adams too this week, and then this is also a team that I think generates a lot of points off of the Cowboys defense. So when you're not getting quite up to that 15-20 point range, you're only pulling 8 points from the Buccaneers defense.
Yeah, they pulled 12.
You're missing out on.
Hey, be careful there. You're looking at the projections. You gotta be looking at this total.
That's right.
But yeah, Devontae, huge week, 33. But look, but take a look at these running back situation, man. I mean, he's got talk about Swift. There he is, not doing much. Kyle Pitts, huge just upon that other tight end position. Kenyon Drake, a guy that maybe should be warranting high risk, high reward play, but when he's playing, I mean, he's putting up points. But especially for a team that, I mean, Donta Foreman, they just got down. I mean, Mixon scored 5 touchdowns on these guys. So not really running the ball when you're down 35-0 at the half. But yeah, and Herbert, bad week. But yeah, running back situations there is pretty rough. Got Cordell back. But this is a team that I think can make it run second half. Definitely sneak in the playoffs and maybe pull some upsets and yeah. So I think it's a pretty strong spot.
Week to week, this is definitely a team to be contended with. I would say like on average, scoring well over 100 points every week. Definitely one of the more stronger teams in the league. Just had a couple tough matchups and a lot of injury in the past couple weeks as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's stashing Deshaun Watson down here, so I don't really understand that move because I mean he got Josh Allen, but if Josh Allen's elbow, turns him into Mitch Trubisky, then Deshaun Watson might be the guy, but because it sounds like Allen's going to play through this injury to his elbow, which we'll see. Tough.
Yeah, when you're only making 6 points off of your running backs, that's kind of rough. You expect a lot more than that. I think not starting with the whole DeAndre Swift situation, this and then
I mean
Jamal Williams getting the ball a lot more.
Just injuries here. I mean he's all 3 games missed in a bye week, but
not performing as you would expect either.
And they're really. I mean, he scored last week and this week. 6.5 is okay. It's better than what they put up in any other running backs. But I mean, 2 carries and then 3 receptions. I mean, that's just not. I mean, I think as the year goes on, he'll get more and more targets and more rushing. But because he's just too good not to play. But yeah, they're really taking their time with the injury. And frankly, I don't know why because this is a very bad football team. So I don't know why they're handcuffing their best player, but
I think they're pretty content with Williams, getting the ball a little bit more.
He's playing well, and I'll let you take the lead here. You got. I think you got lucky this week.
This is definitely this was a game that should have gone the other way around, but Aaron Rodgers, I think that everyone can agree, totally screwed the pooch on this week. So
well, you want to break him down a little bit. I mean, he's been horrendous.
I mean, how many interceptions did that guy throw this week? 3?
He threw 3 this week. He's got 4, 5, 6. And then we're talking about a guy who, over the 3-year span, I think threw less than 10 interceptions in 3 seasons or 2 seasons or whatever it is. And
you're looking at 3 in one game.
He's on pace for, I mean, Christ, 5, 6, 7. We're on pace for easily close to 15 interceptions this year, and this is back-to-back league MVP here. And
It's only going to get worse next week up against Dallas too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a guy that you can play, but I mean, look at Stafford. I mean, Stafford's been equally as bad, frankly. I mean, new league MVP, but Super Bowl champion, and just not doing it.
And in previous years, this is a team that's definitely been putting up some power numbers. So going into this season, it's interesting to see this team, no longer putting up the number one massive amount of points week to week. But that Bengals defense has been something else past couple weeks.
Yep. Couple good matchups too. Carolina, Cleveland's offense is pretty pitiful, and Atlanta's offense is pretty, they just run the ball. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at a pretty, inept Jets offense, and just, I wouldn't say they're anything spectacular, but they're definitely not the worst team in the league. But big injury to their corner, so we'll see how they do. But Vikings defense has been strong. That might be where the play. I mean, that's 5 straight weeks of double digit. That seems like the play.
That's a team that's only winning games too.
Yep, and 7-1, pretty impressive stuff. I mean, this has been a huge problem too. Wide receiver
Definitely.
1. And just not getting a lot of production out of this team right here. But and Clyde's losing favor, but McCaffrey coming back, he seems to have found new life in San Fran. Jerry Jeudy, letting Russ cook, not been great, but yeah, this was a risky play by you here. I mean,
this is very risky. Not a lot of options on that bye week right there, and when you're down 2 running backs, you're kind of desperate for any points you'll get.
Chubb, Barkley, you're real lucky.
This was expected to be a loss on the team's books right here, so it's a miracle it worked out the way it did.
Yes, it is. But I am going to have to looks like buy us. Oh my God!
End the call and recall it.
All right. Well, we got 10 minutes, but we'll do that. Then I'll just splice them together on YouTube. That seems like the play. Yeah, holy crap. It's wow.
This is another one where, the team just totally got lucky, and the kicker came and saved the day 2 weeks in a row. So it's.
Yeah, Nick Folk's been big time player for you. That was a big pickup. There's some controversy involved in that, but you ended up getting them anyway. And ESPN righted my wrong and made you have to earn him. But he's been a good pickup for you, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of these teams are definitely gonna, feel that wrath going forward. And this is a team with two steady quarterbacks. Depending on week to week, you're looking at between 15 and 20 points. You're not looking at crazy numbers beyond that, but if the right quarterback is played, consistency. And going into this next week, this team has out of the bye week. And,
yeah. I mean, getting Chubb and Barkley back, and that's huge. And getting nothing out of your tight end. Not that Kittle's been lighting the world on fire, but definitely, lucky.
I think we had a good start to the season, and then definitely it's been a total switch with Kittle getting healthy again and getting more, play time. He's definitely become that number 1 tight end on this team.
Yeah, well, Jimmy coming back and him getting reassimilated with the offense and getting everything cooking, and now that they got McCaffrey, I mean, that's just another weapon.
With McCaffrey back, I was initially expecting to see a little bit less play time, but Kittle's still getting, targeted in the end zone. So it's definitely a good look going forward.
Yeah, I mean, how about this guy, man? Last week against the Rams, threw 1, caught 1, and ran 1. I mean,
that's absolutely awesome. Ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely a player that, going into next season, that's someone he's going to retain right there.
Oh, you have to imagine this isn't a bad team. Just clicking the right roster moves here can really go a long way.
I think this team and team Price will also be 2 teams that you might see make it back up into that whole playoff standings going into the latter half of the season.
Yeah, look at playoff projections, Rook. I mean, George pretty much is locked in his, and you're sitting at 99. Rock was 90. I'm at 88, and then everybody else, 78 is pretty strong. But these rest,
big drop down there.
But I mean, after Fentanyl's still in a good. He had a good start. It's might hold him through. But then after that, it's coin flips between these 4 really.
And these guys need to start winning these games. It's anyone's game still.
Yeah, I mean,
except for Risky Dipper, that guy looks like he's pretty much that season was over before it started.
Oh man. Well, since I'm gonna have to restart the Zoom call here because we've just been rolling through this. So let me stop the share. Let me get this going. Let me stop the recording, get it saved, and see you in part 2.